The A is now in the ocean. Now we're in rotation 11. The G, this is the Ionian. The A is there, but now it's the Dorian. So you see what the point is, that if we're basically normal people are learning the fretboard just like all the notes and all the relationships from all the notes with no context. And if you learn it with no context, it's gonna be way harder. You're gonna get frustrated because it's not the optimal way to learn it, and because you're not actually achieving any goal. You're not seeing it in relation to the notes. There are always 7 note collections in Western music, and that's what you want to see it from. So use the degrees of rotation, and then try to name everything that you're doing by basically the Nashville number system, 1 through 7, which is basically the node system. So when you say you're on the A on the top string of the guitar on the 5th fret, you might say that, no, I'm on the Aeolian node. I'm on the 6th of the top string of the guitar, which happens to be on the 5th fret. So try to switch your terminology, because that is saying it within context. That's going to be the key. So we don't want to be in space. I want to then go on to the actual continent and no longer have the grid from space, which is the note names. The note names are the grid from space that aren't connected to the planet. I want to know the latitude and longitude as I'm on the planet, and I'm actually rotating with the planet. When I'm playing Zelda, I'm on the planet. I want latitude and longitude from the perspective of me as I rotate around with it on the planet, right? It doesn't help me to look at latitude and longitude from the perspective of space as the planet rotates underneath a grid through 12 degrees of rotation, right? So traveling around the block. So once again, we could see this as a block format from a pitch perspective. Movement within a scale is like walking around the city block. So if I have the 7 collection of notes, if I go from note number 2 and I then go to like note 4, I'm going around the block, which I have 2 forms of measurement, continent by continent, which is equivalent to note by note within the 7 note collection, which is measured incorrectly into the current system, making that the 1, 1, 2, 3. It should be 1, 2. Or by notes, which would be equivalent to continent and ocean, 1, 2, 3. Or we can go counterclockwise. So you can go clockwise forward or counterclockwise backward. And notice the current scale degree system has a problem going backwards. We'll have to address that because backwards is a thing. So how can we use the current measuring system, which is messed up from scale degrees, because it doesn't really go backwards that easy. We'll talk about that. But you can see theoretically it should be easy. You should just go forwards or backwards. And all you need is your starting modal node and the distance in steps. So this approach allows direct measurement of interval distance without renaming notes or keys. So once we know what key we're in, then from a pitch perspective, as we go through the notes, the 7 notes, we're just going around in a circle. That's why the Nashville number system has permanent numbers. They're trying to say, why am I renaming the system relative to scale degrees as I play in different modes when they're all the same locations? And usually you're often going one way around the block, right? We're also going kind of one way like a track. But in theory, of course, we can go one way and the other way as we play our fretboard. All right, what about octaves, you might say? Notice that the reality is that there's actually a 3D dimension to our block analogy.